All right. De Profundis is a British progressive death metal band. They were previously known. Okay, there's a lot. There's a kind of a lot to their history because they started out more almost like a Opeth influenced progressive death doom metal band, and their influences kind of went more technical along the way. Um, and each record since has picked up a little bit more speed, a little bit more technique. They've switched out bassists here and there, and it's really affected their sound in a profound way each time. This time they've picked up a bassist. I forget his name. It's Steve Woodcock, and the thing with this guy is that he's proficient with the Chapman stick as well, and you always know when someone is kind of that involved with their instrument. You kind of have to be to play the Chapman stick. You can bounce around with it a little bit, but playing songs with it takes quite a lot of technique. So the way he approaches the bass on this record involves quite a bit more flourish and runs that you would find on the previous album, which was similarly styled, and you can tell it's the same guitarists putting the songs together. Their style is all over this place. They're interested in melodic black death metal, melodic death metal, all just there's like an old school progressive metal lean to their sound in general, and they really benefit from his bass playing specifically. I don't want to say he carried the record or like it's the only reason, it's like that I picked it up because the last one was quite good, and it was along the same line. So if you haven't heard the last one, you want to check this one out too, um, or that one out too, in addition to this one. And so I make a couple of specific comparisons here, which I think are meant to sort of set off that part of your brain that recognizes something that's a finer work. So if we look towards like earlier Martyr, I'm kind of suggesting a little bit of late 90s death influence. That's not that pronounced. There's a little bit of the dual guitar interplay you'll find in earlier At the Gates records, sort of pre-Slaughter of the Soul, and the way they kind of uh, motion together to sort of either harmonize or become discordant, and sort of a polyphony comes of that, um, or a polyphonic event, however you want to put it. So augury is kind of a good place to start. I think that with some of the bass techniques and how they land next to those same influences, I think Carcarias is a French band. If you don't know them, all right, you need to go check that out first. I think those are good references to what you're going to find on here. And then when we get more to the where I would have placed this band no matter what for the last three albums, Theory and Practice is kind of a good meter of where you're going with it. I hate to compare them with other bands up front, but uh, it's sort of the thing where if you know those bands, you probably want to pick this up pretty easily. I think that people look for this specific mix of uh, melodic style and progressive or technical ability, and there's just a good history of that in music that you'll it's rare enough to where you'll want to go kind of check this band out right away. Um, Now, does that sell the whole thing right away? I think to a certain crowd it does. But what does it all mean? Why are they doing all of this? Why are they fiddling with all these sort of progressive death metal upper echelon sort of ideas? I think almost more interesting is sort of the lyrics they put into this thing and the way they've uh, I guess I would say it's sort of like, I think the way I put it in the review is that there's the root of all evil is sort of religion, and um, I think more and more people are just seeing that in general. It doesn't matter what spirituality or populist spirituality has been undertaken; it's sort of been corrupted and used to dominate and destroy people. And I feel like it's a really timely and very appropriate treatment of those ideas, and it's a good message to sit on a progressive death metal album. Um, the last record kind of touched on similar ideas in some ways, but I think this one is a little bit better spoken, a little more fluid. I think that they've sort of put together an album that just flows really well front to back, and I think if you're as excited as I am about certain shades of progressive death metal that are just a hair under pretentious, like just not so pretentious that you know. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, and most people do. Where it's not so much about technique; it's about what you can do with it. So that's I land. These guys land in that arena for me, and I've been impressed by their last two albums. This one I'm recommending about the same as the previous one. I think they're different, but pretty much on par in terms of me of my own enjoyment and my ability to recommend. I think that this one is it's no more or less of a bassist record, you know. Like it's I had to give it the same recommendation as the last one because it sort of lasted in my head that about the same amount there. So take it as you will. If that sounds like it's to your interest, go read the full review and check it all out and decide for yourself, basically. Uh, so yeah, I again just easily one of my favorite records of the month.